Doobadoo. Skiddly beep bop. Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much for clicking on. Greatly appreciated. It's Eyes Open. Pardon me, Monday night, the fourth day of March. And this is my sister. I've got one remaining sister, thankfully. And it's her birthday today. So happy birthday, sis. If you happen to be catching this, um, on the replay on Facebook or right here on YouTube. And again, hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Um, a lot has happened. Chris, I don't know if Chris is going to be with us. Things are going on, and he may be doing some business. So we'll find out if he's going to be on with us tonight or not. However, he called this. He said, I think he said on Wednesday of last week that be watching for Haiti because there's going to be a coup in Haiti. And we will, we're going to start off with that actually, with that as soon as I can get it pulled up here. And actually, CNN is covering this. So obviously it's a fairly significant deal for them to cover it. Gangs rule Haiti's capital. Some say they're ready to overthrow the government too. Now, by some, that means some of the citizens are ready to overthrow the government as well. And also, there's some stuff going on in Nigeria. Nigeria has demanded the arrest of Binance executives. Binance Nigeria has ordered them to pay $10 billion. And the crypto people are saying, no, they're not going to do it. So we got some stuff going on in a couple of the areas where Chris has some significant expertise. He is with us. Let me get him up here. Chris, what's going on?
Hey, Barry, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
I'm good. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
I got to say hi to Pat Tolliver, to Guy Bassett, not going away. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here, but thank those in the chat early. So I don't know if you have seen this, Chris. You called it the other day. You said, that there was going to be a coup in Haiti. It would probably be within 48 hours. And you also said that there was some instability happening in Nigeria. I'm going to talk about the Bilderbergs coming up, but let me find this. Okay. This is, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but Ariel Henry, Enra, is that how he says it? Do they pronounce it like French style?
Well, yeah.
His last name, or is it Henry?
I think it's Ariel Henry.
Ariel. Okay, that's what I thought too. Ariel Henry. So he landed
tonight. The shocking new video emerging. Haitian Prime Minister and acting President Ariel Henry and his security team coming under heavy gunfire on Saturday in an assassination attempt at an event commemorating the country's Independence Day. His team can be seen trying to shield him with a bulletproof vest while scrambling to take cover behind a vehicle. Then, with gunfire still erupting, the group in a dash running to their caravan of vehicles. The car speeding away, the prime minister safe inside. Local media reports saying one person was fatally shot, 2 injured, but an official casualty count has not been released. The gunman still unknown. The prime minister's office saying that, quote, bandits and terrorists had tried to shoot Henry. This comes just months after the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse back in July by a group of armed men. Prime Minister Henry became the de facto leader of the country less than 2 weeks later. Haitian authorities have arrested 18 Colombians and 2 Haitian Americans in connection with Moïse's killing. But just this week, another suspect was detained by U.S. authorities in Panama. Gang violence, kidnappings, bloody protests over food and fuel shortages, and a devastating earthquake last year have shaken the vulnerable Caribbean nation to its core. And now another blatant attack to the country's highest office as the nation struggles to rebuild.
Okay. One more thing just to show real quick here on on Haiti, if I can. Okay. Gangs in Haiti have teamed up after freeing over 4,000 prisoners. They vowed to arrest senior police commanders and their prime minister as soon as he lands in Haiti, and they tried to assassinate him as soon as he landed. So I'm guessing this is pretty much what you kind of expected was going to happen, Chris.
Right. So, the first video that you showed, that's an old video. That's an old clip. And that was kind of, it's
The assassination
no,
attempt.
that wasn't even an assassination attempt, dude. Listen, if they want to get you, they're going to get you. Okay, that's not even an attempted assassination. I don't know what that is, but that's what they're calling it. That's not what that is. Okay, if they're really out to kill him, they would have shot him and everybody else in that crowd. They wouldn't care. They don't care, right? So that's
Right.
some like state stuff or whatever. The other thing that we're seeing is you heard about that jailbreak, the prison break, right?
They
Right,
let 4,000 prisoners out.
right. So those 4,000 prisoners are what we call force multipliers. Okay, those are other like gang members and people like that have been incarcerated, right? So they let them out. So now you have 4,000 more fighters on the street, okay, to
Yeah.
accomplish what your objective. All right. So we call it, those are force multipliers. So now you just have 4,000 more fighters on the street to help you accomplish your objective. Right. So
Okay.
the
The latest I've got is they've taken over all but 2 police precincts, and they're on the perimeter of taking over the airport. Are you hearing these things?
I heard my understanding is that they already took down the airport. That's what I heard.
Okay.
I
All
did,
right. Okay. You've got better
did you
intel than I do probably on this.
you said that Henri had come back to the country?
Yes, that's what I was sent that footage you just showed. I was sent that clip saying that as soon as he landed, there was an assassination attempt.
No. Is that the clip, the first clip that
Yeah,
you
that was
showed?
the first clip. Yeah.
No, that's an old clip. That's him coming out of a church.
Okay.
That's him coming out of a church in Port-au-Prince. That was like 2 years ago. That clip that you just showed, the first clip, that was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Right? So I don't think he's even come
It's
back.
being okay. Then that's either propaganda or misinformation, because that's being presented as current and happening as soon as. Okay.
No.
So that's being used to deflect.
I guess because I really don't think he came back in the country. Because
you think he's still in Kenya?
I don't know if he's in Kenya, but he's not back. He didn't come back to Haiti.
I did find out why Kenya was going to send their people to police
It's the
to
money.
help. Well, they owe 77. They owe like $77 billion to the United States and other Western countries, and it's like the interest rate's like 8% or something. So it's like $7,000 a minute interest, and they were going to knock some of that off if Kenya sent the troops.
Well, I think that mission's scrubbed.
It has been,
right
yeah.
now. Oh, it has been scrubbed?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's like this. People are talking like, yeah, they're going to send the troops. I'm like, do you really think they're going to send the troops in the middle of a coup? I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. And Henri, I really don't think he's back in country at all.
Okay. Okay, so um, Jim, you mentioned this name probably a year ago, Jimmy Barbecue Cersei.
Right, Jimmy Cherize. Now they call him a gang leader. He's pretty much a guerrilla leader, the rebel leader that's overthrowing the government. As I told you in the audience before, I was like this. I said all those gangs have to do is come together, right? I said they have the guns, they have the manpower. I said all they have to do is overthrow the internal security, which is the police, right? And I said they can pretty much take over that country.
And it
And
seems
that's
like that's what they're doing.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
So they if they continue what they're doing, they will be successful, and they will actually overthrow the government because Henri is not in the country, and that really they really have to get rid of like the police leadership, the high ranking command staff of the police leadership, because when you're conducting insurgency, those are the people that you target, leadership. All right. So they can arrest them, they can do whatever they want with them. But the bottom line is that leadership cannot be there. But as well as other government officials, probably get arrested as well. All right. So you just take down the government in general. But right now, there really no elected officials, or I'm sure they're elected officials, but like no one in the cabinet. There aren't any cabinet positions, I don't believe. Um, in Haiti. So it was almost like a dictatorship. You had like one leader, and that was the acting prime minister or the prime minister of the country, which was Henri. So I like I said, I don't think he's coming back. And they continue to do what they're doing. I'd say maybe within the next week or so, you hear about the fall of Haiti. But we've discussed this
Yeah,
probably.
it's almost like they were listening to our episode that night
Yeah,
where we laid out exactly how to do it because it all comes down to having the backing of the people.
right.
And even CNN in their headline said, a lot of the people are ready for the government to be overthrown.
Right, and I think not that's we always talk about community support, right? Um, and the community did not support Henri and the government of underneath him. So it's like, all right, dude, it's time for you to go. And like we talked about Jimmy Barbecue Cherize, and what his knowledge and being a former police officer, and just basically, hey, look, this is what needs to be done, and we're gonna go about executing it. Now, out of this, if they all those should we say they're calling them gangs. I like to call them guerrilla forces because that's what they really are. They're the community members, which are really guerrillas. Though that's what we call guerrilla force. So
Here in the States, we would call them gangs, wouldn't
right,
we?
right,
Criminal
right,
organizations.
right. But see, it's the same thing. It's an organized gang. No
Okay.
different than the Taliban. Okay, Al Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram. They're all in the same category, like MS-13. They're all organized gangs. So first and foremost, that's how you have to take a look at them. Like we call like Boko Haram and all those other groups terrorists or insurgents. Okay,
Hmm.
yes, true, but baseline level, what are they first? It's an organized gang.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
trafficking drugs, they're trafficking people, they're trafficking guns, they're
it's for economics.
right,
It's
right,
strictly for economics, right? But
right.
but as I said before, a lot of those gangs weren't doing that. They were just totally going around killing people indiscriminately, which gangs don't do because there's no economic profit in it. There's no profit in it, which would lead me to believe that someone else was telling, had their hands on like one of the gang leaders, or maybe someone that's controlling the gangs and having them go out and execute that. So therefore, there'd be instability, or more instability in the country. And when there's more instability, that's the reason you have to bring out the foreign troops to help bring stability back. But in all actuality, that's not what happens. It's just more instability. And with that, when you have more instability on top of more instability, Henri was talking about free and fair elections, that wasn't going to occur. Okay, as long as you have all that instability, you, you're not going to have free. You're not going to have free and fair elections. It's
Oh,
going to
he
be
said just the opposite. He said we cannot have elections because they can't be free and fair. So there's no way we can hold any elections.
yeah. Well, guess what? And that's why they did what they did. It was the overthrow of the country. Okay,
Hmm.
there's no way in the world you're gonna, because that's dictatorship. What he just basically said. You see what I'm saying?
Um, Zelensky said the same thing in Ukraine that,
Right. So
under these conditions, we can't have an election.
right.
Um, don't be
So
surprised if we don't hear it here in the country. I know there'd be a shit ton of uprising, but
right. Right.
if it
So
looks like anyway,
yeah. So that's the thing, and the people were like, "No, I don't think so," and that's where Cherizier overthrew the government. But it comes this comes 20 years after, on the same date that they launched the coup against Aristide. February 29th, 2004, they launched the coup against Aristide, and they removed him from power. I think that it went on for a few weeks, but they removed him from power. And the same, and 20 years later, February 29th, 2024, they launched the coup against Ariel Henry, because Henri said he was gonna, have elections somewhere in February. They didn't occur. They're like, all right, enough of this. Time for you to go. All right. So
yeah.
that's what they did. But the funny thing about it is after those jailbreaks occurred, um, people were talking about those prisoners. Oh, those are criminals and all come to the United States. I'm like, no, those are force multipliers. They're there to overthrow the government. That's actually a common tactic when you're overthrowing the government. The Taliban used to do that all the time in Afghanistan. They used to go
And
to they used to go
it
to
would be
prisons.
it'd be done here in the United States if somebody were to try to overthrow the government.
Right. So, the Taliban did that as well, right? They go to the prisons, uh, conduct a prison break, and let all
Hmm.
those fighters out. So now they have more fighters, you see,
Hmm.
because, you're going to lose fighter people are going to get killed. So you have to replenish them.
Russia's doing it.
Right.
Russia's emptying their prisons to send them to Ukraine.
Right. See?
Yeah, yeah.
So how is this any different? But everyone's like, oh, no, they're coming here to the United States. No, they're not coming here to the United
We
States.
got enough coming here without. I mean, yeah. Uh, Not that a few of them wouldn't, but the main purpose is they are going to stay there because they're going to be in power in
Hey,
just a short
yeah,
amount of time.
exactly. You see? So, people read one snippet out of they see a snippet on the news or on the internet, and they automatically they don't put things in the full context.
Hmm.
Okay, they just use
Yeah,
it.
and they lie to us, and they
Right,
don't tell us. They report on things that are insignificant and totally neglect things that have the potential to lead us into World War III.
right,
It's just amazing.
right. So the media tells you one thing, but doesn't tell you the whole story. You see,
Hmm.
and people will just sit there and believe that one narrative without researching. Okay, what's the full story? Because I've been on Twitter or X telling people, yeah, look, that's not what you think it is. They're not coming here. They're there, to overthrow the
Others
government.
others are coming here, but those 4,000 are going to be
Right,
staying over there.
right,
We got
exactly.
we got more than enough to seriously worry about over here without trying to create another,
Right, but
strong man.
yeah, but once again, Cherizier or Sherzay is the guerrilla leader that's really taking the lead on overthrowing the government. When and like we,
Now, is he gonna claim himself to be prime minister?
I,
Is he going
you know
to
what,
hold elections, or what?
you,
What
you
what
know
are
what,
their plans? Any
you
idea?
know what, he might come in, um, and try to take over. I would, and it that wouldn't surprise me if he did. Okay, him, Guy Philippe, the guy that ran the first coup in 2004. You know, they would come in and be like prime minister and president of the country or whatever, however they do it in Haiti. But that wouldn't surprise me. You see, um,
How does the U.S., how does China, how do Russia, how do the three major players in the world, how do they react? I'm looking politically. How do they react to this happening?
all
Do
right.
they?
So what I'm seeing is this, um, and I've talked about this before. The United States better play ball with whoever's in who becomes the leader of Haiti. You know, they need to
Yeah,
play. They better play ball. Right.
150 miles off of Florida.
Right. So Cherizier had already sat there and said he's like, well, I want the United States in here. We kind of want Russia. And it's like, oh, watch it, you know. But here's the thing. What might happen is a counter coup, right? And where maybe the United States or they might use a proxy to overthrow that government. So
To go
now
go
from
go in
from
and
this,
off go in and off Cersei before he
Series-
gets to power, even
right,
gets to the
right. So the thing about it is now, you know, you have what we call unconventional warfare, which Cherizier is conducting, which is basically, you know,
urban.
destabilization of the government, right? And if he gets in, then he has to do what we call is the opposite because they're going to be coming for him, and we call that foreign internal defense. Um, Basically, you're fighting against insurgency, lawlessness, terrorism, insurgencies, criminal activity. So you know the other group won't destabilize the country. So it's basically a counter coup. You see, so you have the unconventional warfare, which they were doing, which is destabilizing the country, overthrowing the government. Now he's going to be on the defensive, where you have other people coming in trying to overthrow the government, and you have to defend so the government doesn't get overthrown. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You
Okay.
Once you get into position, you got to be able to hold the position,
Exactly.
because if you took it by force, somebody else is seeing that going, well, I'm going to try that too.
Right. So now you have to prevent that from occurring. So that's you know what he really has to be concerned about. But the other thing, I mean, you know, he just you know he just might get killed. They just might try to assassinate this guy. You know,
Yeah.
and then it just becomes a bigger power vacuum, and whoever did it, um, it's a scramble to who wants to be the next leader of the country, and it could be China, Russia, or United States, you know, doing the bidding. Hey, you know, we'll do this if you'll be our boy, and blah 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 blah. That's how it works,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah. All right.
that's
Um, totally shifting gears here. There was another spy balloon spotted over Alaska this weekend, off the shore of Alaska this weekend.
so it's coming.
So that
It's coming
that's
from Russia.
that's two. Um, have no idea.
You know,
It was spotted by fishermen. Um, it was spotted by crab fishermen in in the Bering Sea. So I would say that it might have come from Russia, but
um,
I can't, I can't definitively say that, since the
yeah.
first one was allegedly Chinese, or at least that's what we're told. And the second balloon flew over Texas just in time for um, green laser beams to fire down and start fires all where the cattle graze. So who knows what's going on?
Yeah, I really the whole thing about it is if these balloons keep popping up, how come we're like common sense should be like drop them, just
Yeah.
drop.
I mean, yeah. We've got enough. We've got enough areas, unpopulated areas, where we could drop them. Why aren't
Right,
we?
exactly.
Another thing that just popped into my head: why are we dropping parachutes of aid into Gaza the same time that we're supporting Israel making a destitute new real estate property out of the place?
All right,
Why are we
so
doing both? I mean, I know why, but talk to the people as to why.
all right, so we we talk out of both sides of our mouth. We really do. We say one thing and do something completely different.
Yeah.
And the United States is not gonna they can't allow for those people to suffer the way they're suffering. Okay, so they're gonna start dropping the HA in, doing airdrops. Now, I talked about this with my friends before. I'm like, this is when it first started happening. I'm like, why don't they just do airdrops to to the guys and people, so they have some aid, because they're bombing them and all this other stuff. So I'm like, why don't you just do an airdrop so they get their aid? It's so much easier. Um, but they're like, no, we're not going to do that. That doesn't make I don't think that's a good idea. 4 months, 5 months later, they're doing airdrops. It's like unbelievable, you know. So, uh, like I said, the United States talks out both sides of its neck, both sides of its mouth. It really does. So don't be
And
surprised if one day we say one thing and the next day we're doing something else. That's just how
and
that's the beast.
yeah, and the way the world looks at us when we do that is, I mean, we're trying to be the good guy to everybody, and all we're doing is being the bad guy to everybody.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
So I,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty funny though to me.
Have you ever heard of the Bilderberg Group?
I have
Okay. Have you heard of the Bohemian
Bohemian
Grove?
Grove. Yep.
Okay. All right. Um, I'm not. I'm. The last time I did anything on these two groups, it was taken down, and I got a strike. So I'm not going to do anything other than just recommend people. I will show this real quick. Recommend people Google these two organizations. Um, and let me pop this up real quick. The Bilderberg Group, and then Kid Rock was talking about this group. We'll listen in here just a second.
So you go there, and I'm like thinking we're gonna hear some shit.
Told you, a lot of cursing. But listen to what he's saying. If you can stomach it, push past how he says it and listen to what he's talking about. He's referring to an event early on in his career. He's at one of these parties. You probably heard about these satanic parties in Hollywood. He's at.
Okay, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You see this a lot on the internet. Chris was talking about a few minutes ago. Make sure you're doing your own research on a lot of things, because you're going to hear people. And this is a situation where this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's actually talking about
one of these parties,
Bohemian Grove,
and
but he's talking about it as just another Hollywood satanic party, and it's not that at all. Actually,
Alex Jones brought that out. Alex Jones brought that out a while ago.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
Yeah, he snuck in, famous for sneaking in a long time ago, and had some illegal footage that he shouldn't have got it. And I'm sure you can find it on the internet. Again,
Yep.
I'm not going to play any of that stuff. I'm just going to recommend you Google the Bilderberg Group and the Bohemian Group.
Very similar and very eerie. I think it's worth paying attention to. So let's watch this clip. And also, mind you, this is Joe Rogan's podcast. So if there's cursing, there likely will be right away. So if you don't like that, plug your ears, tell your kids to plug their ears. But nevertheless, let's watch this clip, share my thoughts, and then I'll share the Juggernaut clip at the end of this. Watch.
But he went with Alex to Bohemian Grove, and they filmed these rituals. These people dressed like druids, and they're burning this effigy in front of a giant owl statue.
I was at the owl statue. This is fucking hilarious.
Okay, Chris, that was Joe Rogan talking about Alex Jones.
Yeah, right.
So I'm there on day one, right? And we're drinking beers. Like, it's pretty laid back. There's some really cool talks. Remember this dude talking about shooting asteroids out that might hit the earth in so many years, shit like that. I'm like, fuck, this is cool. But the first day, it was the first evening, and you gather around whatever, the owl by this lake, if I remember correctly, which could be a little hazy. It was a long time ago. And like, I've heard about this place. I'm like, this is some real secret ass shit, man. I can't believe I'm fucking here, right? And it's just a trove of celebrities, fucking everywhere you turn. It's just fucking A. So you go there, and I'm like thinking we're gonna hear some shit.
Told you. A lot of
Okay, so that just gives you, for those that don't know, gives you a little bit of an idea of what you're going to find if you start looking into the Bohemian Grove and into the Bilderberger Group.
Well, in the beginning, he's talking about celebrities being there. When Jones did what he did, there was a bunch of politicians.
Right. There's not. Yeah. And it makes me wonder if he was ever really there.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, because I don't think he's. And this is just, I don't think he's Jewish, and that plays a significant part in it. I don't think he would have been anywhere near powerful enough or wealthy enough to do it. So it makes me question whether Kid Rock is just like, yeah, this is a hip thing to talk about. I don't really remember it that well. It was,
how do you forget something like that?
Yeah,
that's the stuff that should be sticking out in your mind.
Yeah,
yeah, you don't remember it. Like, yeah, right.
Yeah. So I don't question the Bohemian Grove. I don't question Alex Jones. The Alex Jones video, I don't question. I think it was Discovery Channel. It was either Discovery or Travel. One of those channels. They had a show, and in one episode, these three cast members actually did sneak into Bohemian Grove, and one of them kind of took off by himself and got out, and the other two ended up getting held, and then eventually released. And so it is patrolled at all times,
right.
And it's only active like a 4 or 5 day period each year, and wasn't active, I don't think, during COVID, or either it was active and it was one of the only things that was. So I want to play one more thing along those same lines, because one of the things that people are going to find is that the Bilderberg Group and the Bohemian Grove, okay, I just got something else pop up here. Sorry. The World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, WHO, you're going to find that they're all intertwined, and they're all they all have one thing in mind, and it is control of the world. And it sounds like, it sounds like, Austin Powers, or something incredibly ludicrous that, yeah, sure there are, but in actuality, and I told somebody over this weekend that I need to talk more about this because I don't talk about it. The fact that they they believe um, they believe in karma, so they believe that in order for what they're going to do to not have a negative impact on them, which is what karma would do to somebody that was getting ready to kill 87% of the world. Um, they believe that they have to tell us what they're going to do so that it absolves them spiritually. This is Illuminati, satanic, whatever, you know, if we tell them what we are going to do to them, it absolves us from any consequences or any guilt. And that's one reason they say things like
Dans
this.
ce nouveau monde, on doit accepter une transparence, et je dirais même une transparence totale. Le secret bancaire, tout va être transparent. Et il faut s'habituer, il faut se comporter ainsi. Ça devient, comment dirais-je, intégré dans votre personnalité, mais si on n'a rien caché, il ne faut pas avoir peur.
On the surface, that sounds great. If you've got nothing to hide, you shouldn't be worried about it. The problem is, if they want to get rid of you, they can create something that you have
Right.
absolutely no control over and show it
Right.
as fact. So they're wanting people to just, without thinking about it, give up total control. And
That's
Chris, I'm afraid a lot of people
well,
aren't gonna realize the danger in that. And
it's a big problem. It really is. You know, um, it's just you can't even think for yourself. You know, when people stop thinking for themselves, it's just I don't know what to say. You're just mindless. You really are. You know, and
And-
you'll believe anything.
but some people don't want to know. Some people are comfortable not knowing, you know, because they may feel like, there's nothing they can do about it. And maybe individually they can't. But if we get enough people informed of some of the things that are going on, and again, this is from the United Nations, UN Agenda 2030 mission goals. They want a one world government. They want one world cashless currency, one world central bank, one world military, the end of national sovereignty, the end of all privately owned property, the end of the family unit, depopulation, control of population growth and density, a universal basic income. That's their idea of being austere. Everybody's going to get the same amount of money and for no matter what skills they have or what they can do. Microchip society for tracking and controlling purchasing and travel. Implementation of a world social credit system like China has. And
Right.
hang on. Let me get the rest of it in here. Trillions of appliances hooked into 5G monitor systems. Government raised children, government owned and controlled schools, colleges, and universities, into private transportation, owning cars, etc. All businesses owned by government or corporation or by government corporations. The restriction of non-essential air travel. Human beings concentrated into human settlement zones. The end of immigration. The end of private farms and grazing livestock. The end of single-family homes. Restricted land use that serves human needs. I've got other clips of Nicole Kidman saying, "I'm getting ready to eat a 4-course meal made of nothing but bugs, and it's going to be incredible." Am I just like batshit crazy, or should we be concerned concerned that they're telling us what they're going to do to us, and
But either no one
and
believes them, either no one believes them, right, or we just don't care. You know,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the only way I can see it. It's like, well, why I don't really care, and well, I don't really believe them, or just people are just like so numb to what goes on in society. You know
yeah.
that
I had a really good weekend, relaxed this weekend for the first time in a long time, um, and came ready for tonight. And
right,
I looked at the CNN head or the CNN's top stories, and they're like, stuff that does, what some actress's mom thinks about her chances at the Golden Globes or whatever. It was it was um and it dawned on me. People just people want to be entertained. People
right,
want to people want to escape. They a lot of them don't want to know what's going on. And and it's kind of disheartening. I mean, I get it. I understand it. Some people have really crappy lives, and their only escape is online or in a video game or whatever. Um, but that's because that's where they're trying to place us, so that we will not be difficult to eliminate.
okay. So you just yeah, okay. So
Am I wrong?
you put us in a happy place. So so that's what it
Yeah,
seems like, right?
because I mean,
Yeah.
everybody ought to be screaming their heads off. What do you mean you're killing all the cows? What do you mean we're going to have to eat bugs? What do you mean you're going to take my car?
Yeah.
I mean, if but instead we're distracted by Trump Biden.
Right.
I mean, of all. Okay, so let's transition into that. The Supreme Court ruled that Biden, or I'm sorry, that Trump's going to be on the ballot. I don't know how Maine and Colorado. I think both of them are Super Tuesday states. I'm not sure how they're going to logistically get him on the ballot in time unless they had provisionals already printed up in case the decision came down. But I agree with that because he's been indicted, but he hasn't been convicted.
Right. And
And
that's the whole thing,
yeah,
if you're not convicted of anything, how can you can't disqualify someone or you can't disqualify someone if they're just like under investigation, or it has to come to trial. It's after the fact. If you actually been convicted of it, then you can take action. But until then, you can't really do anything. You know,
uh,
and
uh,
I think that's what the Supreme Court did.
as the Constitution is written, yes, as the Constitution is written. Um, I mean, we all as not we all, not all of us, but a lot of people in the United States saw what happened on January 6th, saw Trump stir the crowd up, saw him laughing behind the scenes while the Capitol was being stormed, um, and know that he's guilty of something. But the way the laws, if we're going to be a country of laws, we got to follow the laws, like it or not. And this is one
Right,
I don't necessarily like, but as it is written, um, you got, he hasn't been charged with anything, and unless Congress makes a law that says you can't be on the ballot if you've been indicted for insurrection, um, which, again, common sense, and a lot of people are all upset, but it was a 9-0 decision.
right,
Um,
exactly. Right,
now, this came in right before we came on. Um, Representative Jamie Raskin, after the Supreme Court has ruled 9-0, here's what he thought.
I am working with a number of my colleagues, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Eric Swalwell, to revive legislation that we had to set up a process by which we could determine that someone who committed insurrection is disqualified by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. And the House of Representatives already impeached Donald Trump for participating in insurrection by inciting it. So the House has already pronounced upon that, and I am working.
So there. The House has already pronounced upon it. It was Mitch McConnell who said, you know, we're going to kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
And here we are.
For sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now what I don't think this, I know the Supreme Court's not done because they've got another case coming up April 22nd. This one is about immunity. Now, why would you need immunity if you hadn't done something? Okay. Why would you need immunity for insurrection if you hadn't committed insurrection? I don't think they're going to give him immunity. I think they will rule constitutionally that, you know, if they held up that he shouldn't be on the ballot, then, you know, Texas could say, okay, Biden's not on the ballot. You know,
Right.
There's a big difference because Biden isn't indicted for insurrection. However, that's kind of what the Supreme Court's, in reading the statements, that's kind of what it said to me. Now, the 22nd of April, they're going to hear arguments on whether there's immunity. And I don't think they're going to find, I don't think that, even though Trump stacked the court, I don't think they're going to find there's immunity. And I think that's the way the Supreme Court washes their hands of all of it, is finding with him in this case and then finding against him in the upcoming case, which is going to be critical, because if they do that and do it relatively quickly, then the insurrection case gets started in DC. And
Right.
so a lot of things in play.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
All right, tomorrow's Super Tuesday. Nikki Haley won the Republican primary in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. Her first primary win. It'll be interesting to see how this decision plays out at the ballot booth. How many Republicans decide that they're not ride or die with Donald Trump.
Right.
That's
And
going to be and if Haley happens to win a couple of states, money starts coming back in, and she's going to be a thorn in his side until he either gets found guilty or has a complete mental breakdown.
one or the other, right?
One or the other. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hearing rumblings from Republicans that that his campaign is trying very hard to limit his public exposure and limit especially his late night tweeting, because while he is firing up his base is established, and he is repelling moderate Republicans, even non-MAGA conservatives. So it'll be interesting to see what percentage he wins, the areas he wins by, and if Nikki Haley happens to pull off a couple of upsets. So
Right.
I'll be on tomorrow night. I'm going to be on tomorrow night doing I'm going to be multitasking. I'm going to be watching Oak Island on the TV, and then I'll be monitoring the primary results here
Right.
online, and I'll be online. So anything happens tomorrow night, feel free to hop on and let us know.
Yeah, for sure. I'll
All right,
definitely do
man.
that.
All right. We'll talk to
Okay.
you Wednesday, or we'll talk to you Friday, if not before.
Friday night sounds good. I'll talk to you
All
guys
right.
then. All right. Have a
Thank you,
good night.
man.
Okay. Take care.
Always appreciate it. Thank you. That's our boy Chris. We thank you, man. Geez, what a invaluable source of information and experience, and we greatly appreciate him. Um, let me hop over here real quick and say hey to Shalom True. Hello, Christine. Tommy Temper. Hello, Guy Bassett. So, thank you all for being here. Again, we're just kind of tossing around a lot of things that are happening and have been happening and are about to happen. I do want to show one more thing here, if you'll hang with me for a couple of moments while I get it set up. I mentioned this. I mentioned the lasers. Okay. Now there are lasers, alleged lasers in Florida. Those are called LIDAR. That's a radar, a laser radar that penetrates the ground, a ground penetrating aerial radar. What we're seeing here, I've shown this on here before, two different angles of a green laser beam, either coming down from just above the cloud or up and being dispersed by the cloud. And we bring this up because there is this footage of this is Ring doorbell footage that just happened to catch during a storm before the grazing land started burning, where the cattle, majority of the American beef cows in the Texas Panhandle range, the grazing range that is all but burned up. This is what a Ring doorbell camera caught. And this is a still of it. So, and in the last bit, you can see it move across. We've shown on here before. We showed the other night again the plane, the U.S. Air Force plane that has the DEW, the direct energy weapon, on it. And again, you know, I don't. People can call me a conspiracy theorist all they want, but I saw what happened on the videos from Maui and Chile and now possibly in Texas. And I got one in California. So I don't know if one of the wildfires in California was started, but it was captured by a guy that is a radar specialist, and that's all he does is monitor radars and earthquakes. And it's clear on his radar image that it was coming down, and for an extended period of time. I'm talking like 3 or 4 seconds, extended period of time. It wasn't just an anomaly, a glitch. It was an active laser signature. So open our eyes. Let's quit being enemies. Let's quit being looking for petty reasons to hate and despise each other. Let's start communicating with each other. Let's start trying to build so the tiny group at the top doesn't totally wipe the rest of us out, because that's the plan at the moment. And the first thing is to make sure you know the plan of those that are potentially wanting your demise. And we happen to know that because they have to tell us that, because that's what they believe. And I believe we should listen to them. So that's that on that. We'll be back tomorrow night. I'll be on at, I'll probably come on about 7 o'clock tomorrow night because the first primary results will be coming on. So I don't know how long I'll be on, if I'm on, an extended 5 hour period, or if I'm just on, if I do a couple of spots, I come on from 7 to 8:30 and then come back on at 10. I don't know. It depends on how it plays out. Depends on what happens tomorrow afternoon too, and how much energy I have. So, look for, just hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and look for a post. I will drop a post in the community post, and I'll try to remember to put a preview up that we're going to be on when I know for sure. I'm going to guess 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Look for me on here talking about the primaries and any other thing that happens of significance between now and then. Until then, namaste. I wish you all nothing but peace. Live long and prosper. Love. Love y'all. Like chocolate chip cookies. I mean that. See you tomorrow night. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. Thanks for clicking on. Hit the subscribe, like, and share. Love you.